On October 23, 2025, a frustrated Highlander Hybrid owner rolled into my shop holding a stack of fuel receipts like he was building a court case. His complaint was one I had heard hundreds of times. His fuel economy was nowhere near the sticker rating. He was averaging 27 miles per gallon in a vehicle Toyota proudly advertised at 36. He had tried premium gas, new tires, lighter cargo loads, even adjusting tire pressure obsessively every week. The dealership ran their diagnostics twice. Both times they sent him home with the same useless line that it is operating as designed. Today, I am revealing a single setting hidden in plain sight on every modern Toyota hybrid that, when used correctly, can rewrite your fuel economy overnight, and why dealers will never tell you how to use it properly. That driver did not know it yet, but the answer was sitting 6 inches from his right hand the entire time. A single letter on his gear shifter. A character Toyota's own owner's manual essentially warns you to leave alone. A letter most hybrid drivers have stared at for years and never once pressed. The letter B. By the time he left my shop 90 minutes later, his trip computer had already climbed past 38 miles per gallon on the same roads he had driven for 2 years, and he was driving the same way he always had, with one critical adjustment. Here is what almost nobody outside the hybrid engineering world understands. Your Toyota hybrid is not a car. It is a coordination problem disguised as a car. There is a gasoline engine, an electric motor, a generator, a battery, an inverter, and a planetary gear set, all making decisions in real time, and the entire system is built around one assumption: the driver will not interfere. From the moment Toyota launched the Prius in 1997, every model that followed has been engineered to make hybrid driving feel boring, automatic, invisible. Step on the pedal, the car decides what to do. That philosophy is what made hybrids mainstream, but it is also what quietly costs you real-world fuel economy every single day. Because the truth is uncomfortable. The system is engineered around the average driver, not the efficient driver. Toyota's calibration assumes you will accelerate inconsistently, brake hard at the last second, and treat the regenerative braking system like an afterthought. To compensate, the computer makes conservative choices, prioritizing battery longevity, drivability, and emissions compliance over raw efficiency. It will hit the EPA number under perfect lab conditions and then quietly underperform in real life. Most owners accept this without question. They blame the weather. They blame the gas. They blame their commute. What they almost never blame is the fact that they have been ignoring the one input Toyota built into the system specifically to give the driver back some control. This is the B position on the gear selector. The moment a customer shifted on October into 23, B at the right 2025, time, something a frustrated Highlander Hybrid owner rolled into my shop that holding the a stack dealership of had fuel never bothered receipts to like he was explain. building a court case. To understand why his this complaint matters, was one I you had have to heard hundreds of understand times. What regenerative his fuel braking economy was nowhere actually near is, the sticker rating. because almost everything he was averaging drivers 27 think they know miles about per it gallon is in a wrong. vehicle Toyota When you lift off proudly the accelerator advertised in a at hybrid, 36. The system
He
can
had tried
do one
premium
of 3
gas,
things: new tires,
coast
lighter cargo
freely,
loads,
capturing
even adjusting
very
tire
little
pressure
energy.
obsessively
It
every
can
week.
engage light
The dealership
regenerative
ran their
braking,
diagnostics
capturing some
twice.
energy back
Both
into
times
the battery.
they sent him home
or
with
it
the
can
same
engage
useless
heavy
line
regenerative
that it is
braking
operating
combined
as
with
designed.
engine braking, slowing the
Today,
car
I am
aggressively
revealing a
and
single
recovering
setting
significantly
hidden in
more
plain
energy
sight
under
on
the
every
right
modern
conditions.
Toyota hybrid
In the standard
that, when
D
used
position,
correctly,
the computer
can rewrite
chooses
your fuel
option
economy
1 or
overnight,
option 2
and
for
why
you.
dealers will
It
never
picks
tell
the
you how to
gentlest
use it
option
properly.
it can get away with.
That driver
because
did not know
Toyota's
it yet.
engineers know
But
that
the answer
most
was
drivers
sitting 6
do not
inches
want
from
their
his
car
right
to
hand
feel
the
like it
entire
is
time.
dragging when they
A
lift
single letter
off
on
the
his
gas.
gear shifter.
So
A character
in normal
Toyota's
driving,
own
you are
owner's
leaving
manual
energy
essentially
on the table
warns you to
on
leave alone.
every single
A letter most
deceleration.
hybrid drivers
energy
have
that your
stared at for
gasoline
years
engine
and
had
never
to burn
once
fuel
pressed.
to create in the first place.
The letter B.
The B position changes
By
that
the time he
decision.
left my shop,
It tells
90
the
minutes
system
later,
that the driver
his
wants
trip computer
maximum
had already
regeneration
climbed
the moment
past
they lift
38
off.
miles per gallon
The car
on the same
responds
roads
by
he had driven for
engaging
2
stronger
years,
regenerative
and he was
braking
driving
right
the
away.
same way he
And
always
on certain
had,
models
with
at certain
one
speeds,
critical adjustment.
by also using the engine itself
Here
as
is
a
what
brake
almost
to multiply
nobody
the slowing
outside the
effect.
hybrid engineering
Most
world
drivers who
understands.
try B once feel
Your
that
Toyota
increased
Hybrid is not a
drag
car.
and immediately
It is a
shift back to
coordination
D,
problem
convinced
disguised
something
as a
is
car.
wrong. They have
There is a
just felt
gasoline
their fuel
engine,
economy
an electric
improving
motor,
in real
a
time
generator,
and rejected
a battery,
it because it
an
felt
inverter,
unfamiliar.
and a planetary gear set.
This is
all
where the
making
dealership
decisions
angle
in real
becomes
time.
infuriating.
And the entire
Toyota's
system
own
is built
owner's
around
manual
one
contains
assumption:
a single
the
sentence
driver
that has cost
will not
hybrid
interfere.
owners millions
From the
of
moment
gallons
Toyota
of fuel
launched the Prius
collectively.
in 1997,
It says in essence that
every
B
model
mode
that followed
is for
has been
descending
engineered
long
to make
steep
hybrid
grades
driving feel
and should not be
boring,
used for normal
automatic,
driving. That
invisible.
sentence is technically
Step on the
correct
pedal,
in
the
a
car
very
decides
narrow
what to do.
legal sense.
That philosophy
Toyota
is
does
what
not
made
want to be
hybrids
sued
mainstream,
because someone
but
left
it is
their
also
car
what
in
quietly
B at
costs
highway
you
speeds and
real-world
damaged
fuel economy
something,
every
or because
single
someone
day.
misunderstood
Because
the
the
system
truth
and ran
is
the battery
uncomfortable.
into a state that
The
triggered a
system
warning.
is engineered around
So they
the
wrote
average
the most
driver,
cautious
not the
possible
efficient
warning.
driver.
Toyota's
Dealerships
calibration
parrot that warning
assumes
back
you
at
will
customers
accelerate
without ever
inconsistently,
explaining the
brake
nuance.
hard at
And
the
the
last
nuance
second,
is everything.
and treat the regenerative
Because
braking
B mode
system
is
like an
not a
afterthought.
single behavior.
To compensate,
It is a
the computer makes
context-dependent
conservative
tool.
choices
At low speeds,
prioritizing
with a
battery
battery that is
longevity,
not fully charged,
drivability,
B mode
and emissions
dramatically
compliance
increases
over
the
raw
amount of
efficiency.
energy your car recovers.
It will hit the EPA
At higher
number under
speeds,
perfect
with
lab
a full
conditions.
battery, and
B
then
mode
quietly
does engage
underperform
compression
in
braking
real life.
that wastes some
Most
energy.
owners accept this
The difference
without
between
question.
those two
They
scenarios
blame the weather.
is not theoretical.
They blame the gas.
It is the
They blame
difference
their
between
commute.
27 miles
What they
per
almost
gallon
never blame
and 38
is the
miles
fact that
per
they
gallon.
have been ignoring the
And
one
it is the
input
entire
Toyota
reason
built
this
into the
setting
system
feels almost
specifically
forbidden
to give the driver
Used
back
wrong,
some
it
control.
does nothing.
Used
This
right,
is the B
it
position
transforms
on
the
the
car.
gear selector.
Toyota
The
chose
moment
to
a
err on the
customer
side of
shifted
telling
into
you
B
not
at
to
the right
use it at
time,
all, because
something
explaining the right
invisible
way
happened
takes more
underneath
than a
his
sentence
Highlander
in a manual.
that the dealership
The
had
customer
never
with the
bothered to
Highlander
explain.
is a perfect
To
example.
understand why
His
this
commute
matters,
was
you
almost
have to
entirely
understand
city
what
driving with rolling
regenerative
hills
braking
and frequent
actually
stoplights.
is, because
That
almost
profile is
everything
the
drivers
single
think they
best-case
know
scenario
about it
for
is
B
wrong.
mode.
When
Every
you lift
time he
off
saw
the
a red light
accelerator
ahead,
in a hybrid,
he was lifting off the accelerator and then coasting in D, recovering only a small fraction of his
capturing
kinetic energy.
very little energy.
By the time he hit the
It
brake
can
pedal,
engage
he was bleeding the rest of that
regenerative
energy
braking,
as heat
capturing
into his
some
rotors.
energy
With
back
B
into the
engaged
battery,
in those exact
or
conditions,
it can engage
the moment
heavy
he lifts his
regenerative
foot,
braking
the system
combined
pulls
with
aggressively.
engine braking,
The motor
slowing
becomes
the
a
car
generator.
aggressively
The battery
and
climbs.
recovering
The brake pedal
significantly
barely
more
needs to be
energy
touched
under
until
the
the
right
last few
conditions.
feet. And
In
on
the
the next
standard
acceleration,
D position,
that
the
recovered
computer
energy moves
chooses
the car
option
forward
1
instead of
or
fuel
option
doing
2
it.
for you.
I watched
It
his
picks
energy
the
display the
gentlest
entire
option
test
it
drive.
can get away with.
In
because
D,
Toyota's
the regen bar
engineers
moved
know
a
that
third of the
most
way down
drivers
on a
do
typical
not want
deceleration.
their car to feel
In
like
B,
it is dragging
on the same hill,
when they lift
with the same
off
lift
the
off,
gas.
the bar pegged the
So
bottom
in
for
normal
nearly
driving,
the full
you are
slowdown.
leaving energy on
That
the
is
table
real measurable
on every
energy being
single
recovered
deceleration.
that he had been throwing
energy
away
that your
every day
gasoline
for
engine
2 years.
had to burn fuel to create.
But I also
in the
need
first
to tell you
place.
the part where this gets
the B
dangerous
position
because
changes that
half-truths
decision.
on the internet
It tells
are how
the system
people end
that the
up
driver
frustrated.
wants maximum
B mode
regeneration
is not a
the
magic
moment they
button.
lift off. It is a precision
car
responds
instrument.
by engaging
There are
stronger
conditions where
regenerative
using it
braking
will hurt
right
your
away.
fuel economy,
and on
not
certain
help
models
it.
at certain speeds.
On long highway
by also
drives at
using
steady
the engine
cruising
itself
speeds,
as a brake
B
to
mode
multiply
adds
the
drag,
slowing effect.
and the engine ends up
Most
working harder
drivers who
to
try
maintain
B once
speed.
feel that increased
On a flat road
drag
with a fully
and
charged
immediately
battery,
shift back to
B
D,
mode just
convinced
spins
something
the
is
engine
wrong.
for nothing,
Which
which is
have just
exactly
felt their
the
fuel
failure
economy
mode Toyota
improving in
warns
real
about.
time
And in
rejected
winter,
it
when the
because
battery
it
is
felt
cold and
unfamiliar.
cannot accept charge as quickly,
This is where the
regenerative
dealership angle
braking
becomes
benefit
infuriating.
shrinks, while the
Toyota's
engine
own
braking
owner's
penalty
manual contains a
stays the
single
same.
sentence that has cost
So the
hybrid
rule is
owners
simple.
millions of gallons of
B
fuel
mode rewards
collectively.
you in stop-and-go driving.
It says in essence
on rolling
that B
terrain,
mode is
on
for
descents
descending
longer than a
long
few
steep
seconds,
grades,
and anytime
should
you can
not
see
be
a
used for normal
deceleration
driving.
coming from a distance.
That sentence is technically correct.
It punishes
in a
you
very
on
narrow
long, flat
legal
highway
sense.
stretches.
Toyota
when your
does not
battery
want
is
to be
already
sued
full,
because someone
and when
left
you
their
are driving
car in
aggressively.
B at highway speeds
The driver
and damaged
controls
something,
when to use
or
it.
because someone misunderstood the
does
system
not.
and ran the
That
battery
is exactly
into a
the
state
kind
that
of
triggered a
decision
warning.
the standard hybrid calibration
So they wrote the
removes
most
from you on
cautious
purpose.
possible warning.
There is a second layer
Dealerships
almost
parrot
no
that
one
warning
talks
back
about,
at customers
and it is the
without
reason
ever
this setting
explaining the
genuinely
nuance.
changes
And the
ownership
nuance is
economics.
Every time
Because
your
B
hybrid
mode
uses
is not a
regenerative
single behavior.
braking instead of
It is a
friction braking,
context
your brake
dependent
pads
tool.
wear less.
At low
drastically
speeds, with
less.
a battery that is not
There are
fully
Toyota
charged,
hybrids
B
in
mode
taxi
dramatically
service with
increases
over
the amount of energy your
400,000
car
miles on their
recovers.
original front
At higher
pads.
speeds,
That
with
is
a full
not a
battery,
misprint.
B mode
The
does
cars
engage compression
regenerate so
braking
much of
that
their
wastes
stopping
some
energy that the friction
The
brakes
difference between
are
those two
barely
scenarios
engaging
is
during
not
normal
theoretical.
driving.
It is
When
the
you
difference
use
between
B mode
27 miles per
strategically,
gallon and
you
38 miles per
accelerate
gallon.
that effect.
And
You
it is
shift
the entire
more of
reason
the
this
slowing
setting
duty
feels
to the
almost
motor
forbidden.
and away
Used
from
wrong,
the pads.
it does nothing.
Over 5
Used
years
right,
of ownership,
it transforms
that
the car.
translates to brake
Toyota
jobs
chose
you
to err on
simply
the
do
side
not
of telling
have
you
do.
not to use it at all,
And brake
because
jobs are
explaining the
profitable
right
for
way
dealerships.
takes more than a sentence.
Make of
in
that
the manual.
what you will.
The customer with the Highlander
There
is
is
a perfect
one more
example.
piece.
His
And this is
commute
the
was
part that
almost
took me
entirely
years of
city
working
driving
on
with
these
rolling
systems
hills
to
and
fully
frequent
appreciate.
stoplights. That
Hybrid
profile is the
efficiency
single best
is
case
not really
scenario
about
for
the
B mode.
engine, the
Every
motor,
time he
or
saw
the
a red
battery
light ahead,
individually.
he was lifting off the
It is about
accelerator
the
and then
state of
coasting in
charge
D,
of that
recovering
battery
only a
throughout
small
your
fraction
drive.
of his kinetic energy.
The system
By
performs
the time he
its
hit the
best
brake pedal,
when the
he
battery
was
is
bleeding
sitting
the
in a
rest
middle
of that
range,
energy as
not
heat
too full,
into his rotors.
not too empty.
With B engaged
When
in
it is
those
too
exact
full,
conditions,
the engine has
the
to
moment
do
he
all the
lifts his
work
foot,
because there
the
is no
system
room
pulls
to store
aggressively.
regenerated
The motor
energy.
becomes a
When
generator.
it is too
The
empty,
battery
the
climbs.
system runs
the brake pedal
engine
barely needs to be
extra
touched
hard
until the
just
last
to
few
keep the
feet.
battery alive.
And on the next
The
acceleration,
driver who
that
masters
recovered
B
energy
mode is
moves
really
the car
mastering
forward
one
instead of
thing,
fuel doing it.
keeping the battery
I
in that
watched his
sweet
energy
zone
display
where
the
every
entire
regen
test
event
drive.
has somewhere to go,
In D,
and every
the regen bar
acceleration
moved a
has
third of the way
electric
down on
assistance
a
available.
typical deceleration.
Drivers who
In
never
B,
use B
on the
mode
same hill,
let the
with
battery
the same
drift
lift off,
wherever the
bar
system
pegged
wants.
the bottom for nearly
Drivers
the
who
full
use
slowdown.
B mode constantly hold
That
the
is
battery
real
too
measurable
full
energy
and
being
lose
recovered
efficiency.
that he had been throwing
Drivers
away
who use
every
B
day
mode
for 2 years.
strategically before stoplights.
But I also
on
need to
rolling
tell you the
hills,
part where
on
this
off
gets
ramps,
dangerous
and
because
on grocery store
half-truths
parking
on the
lot
internet
approaches
are how people
keep the
end up
battery
frustrated.
dancing in the middle the entire
B mode
trip.
is not a magic
That
button.
is the entire
It is a
game.
precision
Once you see it
instrument.
that way, you
There are
stop driving a
conditions where
hybrid
using
like a
it will
regular
hurt your
car
fuel
with extra
economy,
parts.
not
You
help
start
it.
driving it like the
On long
energy
highway
management
drives
system
at
it
steady
actually
cruising
is.
speeds, B
When my
mode
customer
adds
climbed
drag,
back into
and
his
the engine
Highlander
ends
after
up
our
working
test
harder
drive,
to
he was
maintain
quiet
speed.
for a long time.
On a flat
He
road
told
with
me
a fully
he had owned
charged
3
battery,
hybrids over the
B
past
mode
decade.
just spins
None of
the
his
engine
dealers had
for
ever
nothing,
explained
which
any
is
of this.
exactly the
None of
failure
his service
mode
advisors
Toyota
had ever
warns
mentioned
about.
the B position.
And in winter, when the
He had
battery
spent
is cold
thousands
and
of
cannot
dollars in
accept
fuel
charge
he
as
did not
quickly,
need to spend.
the regenerative
All because
braking
the
benefit
industry that
shrinks,
sold him these
while
vehicles
the engine braking
had no
penalty
incentive to teach him how to
stays the
operate
same.
them at full capability.
So the rule is simple. Educated owners bring their
B mode
cars
rewards
in
you in
less.
stop-and-go
They
driving
wear out fewer
on rolling
parts.
terrain.
On
They keep their
descents longer
hybrids
than a few
longer
seconds
instead of
and
trading
anytime
up.
you can see a deceleration
Every
coming from a
minute spent
distance.
teaching a customer how to
It
maximize
punishes
their
you
car
on long,
is
flat
a minute
highway
not
stretches
spent selling
when your battery
something.
is already full.
That is not
and
a
when you are driving
conspiracy.
aggressively.
It is just
The driver
incentive
controls
structure,
when to use
and the
it.
result
The
is
system
the same
does not.
either way.
That is exactly
Millions
the kind
of
of
hybrid
decision
owners
the standard
are driving
hybrid
cars
calibration
that could be
removes
doing
from you on
dramatically
purpose.
better. And they
There
will
is a
never
second
know it
layer
unless
almost
someone
no one
outside
talks
the
about,
dealership
and it
tells
is the
them.
reason this setting
Here
genuinely
is what I want
changes
you
ownership
to do.
economics.
The next time
Every
you
time
are
your
approaching
hybrid
a red
uses light from a few
regenerative
hundred
braking
feet away.
instead of friction
Slip
braking.
into B
Your brake pads
and lift
wear
off
less,
early.
drastically
Watch your
less.
energy display.
There are Toyota
and watch
hybrids
the
in
regen
taxi
bar.
service with over
Notice how little you
400,000
need the
miles
brake
on their
pedal.
original front
The next
pads.
time you exit the
That is not a
highway,
misprint.
shift to B
The
as you
cars
start the
regenerate
off-ramp
so much
and
of their
see how much
stopping
energy energy that the friction
before
brakes
reaching the
are
stop
barely
sign.
engaging during
The
normal
next time
driving.
you crest a hill in
When
the
you
suburbs,
use B mode
drop into B for the
strategically,
descent,
you
and let the
accelerate
battery
that effect.
refill
You
itself
shift
for free.
more of the slowing
Then
duty
shift back
to the
to
motor
D
when
and
you
away
reach
from
flat
the
ground
pads.
or open
Over
highway.
Over 5 years of
Do
ownership,
that for 1
that
week
translates
and
to
check
brake
your
jobs
average.
you simply do
I
not
do
have
not
to
need
do.
you to take my
And
word
brake
for
jobs
it.
are profitable
Your trip
for
computer
dealerships.
will tell you
Make of
everything
that
you
what
need
you
to
will.
know. If you have ever
There is
stared
one
at
more
a fuel
piece,
gauge,
and this is the
wondering
part
why
that
your
took me
hybrid
years
never
of
quite
working
hit
on
its
these
sticker
systems
number,
to fully
you will
appreciate.
finally have your answer.
Hybrid efficiency
It was
is
not the
really
car.
about the
It was
engine,
not the gas.
the motor, or
It
the
was a
battery
setting Toyota
individually.
built specifically
It is about
for
the
you
state of
that
charge
nobody
of
ever
that
taught you
battery
to use.
throughout your drive.
If this changed how you
The
think
system
about your
performs
hybrid,
its best
hit
when
like
the battery
so
is
the
sitting in a
algorithm
middle
pushes
range,
it to other
not too
Toyota
full,
owners
not
who
too
are still
empty.
being kept in the dark.
When it is too full, the engine has to
Subscribe.
do all the work because
If you
there
want
is
more
no room to
breakdowns of the
store
hidden
regenerated
settings,
energy.
dealer secrets,
When it is
and
too
overlooked
empty,
features
the
that put
system
real
runs
money
the
back in your
engine
pocket.
extra hard
Drop
just
a
to
comment
keep the
with your
battery
current
alive.
miles per gallon
The
and
driver
model
who
you
masters
drive.
B mode is
I read
really
every comment,
mastering
and
one
the next
thing,
video might be
keeping the
built around
battery
your
in that
story.
sweet zone
Because
where
the most
every region
expensive
event
thing
has
about
somewhere to
owning a
go,
hybrid is
and
not the
every
car itself.
acceleration has
It is
electric
everything you were never
assistance
told
available.
about how to drive it.
Drivers who never use B mode let the battery drift wherever the system wants. Drivers who use B mode constantly hold the battery too full and lose efficiency. Drivers who use B mode strategically before stoplights, on rolling hills, on off-ramps, and on grocery store parking lot approaches keep the battery dancing in the middle the entire trip. That is the entire game. Once you see it that way, you stop driving a hybrid like a regular car with extra parts. You start driving it like the energy management system it actually is. When my customer climbed back into his Highlander after our test drive, he was quiet for a long time. He told me he had owned 3 hybrids over the past decade. None of his dealers had ever explained any of this. None of his service advisors had ever mentioned the B position. He had spent thousands of dollars in fuel he did not need to spend, all because the industry that sold him these vehicles had no incentive to teach him how to operate them at full capability. Educated owners bring their cars in less. They wear out fewer parts. They keep their hybrids longer instead of trading up. Every minute spent teaching a customer how to maximize their car is a minute not spent selling something. That is not a conspiracy. It is just incentive structure, and the result is the same either way. Millions of hybrid owners are driving cars that could be doing dramatically better, and they will never know it unless someone outside the dealership tells them. Here is what I want you to do. The next time you are approaching a red light from a few hundred feet away, slip into B and lift off early. Watch your energy display and watch the regen bar. Notice how little you need the brake pedal. The next time you exit the highway, shift to B as you start the off-ramp and see how much energy you recover before reaching the stop sign. The next time you crest a hill in the suburbs, drop into B for the descent and let the battery refill itself for free. Then shift back to D when you reach flat ground or open highway. Do that for 1 week and check your average. I do not need you to take my word for it. Your trip computer will tell you everything you need to know. If you have ever stared at a fuel gauge, wondering why your hybrid never quite hit its sticker number, you will finally have your answer. It was not the car. It was not the gas. It was a setting Toyota built specifically for you that nobody ever taught you to use. If this changed how you think about your hybrid, hit like so the algorithm pushes it to other Toyota owners who are still being kept in the dark. Subscribe. If you want more breakdowns of the hidden settings, dealer secrets, and overlooked features that put real money back in your pocket, drop a comment with your current miles per gallon and the model you drive. I read every comment, and the next video might be built around your story. Because the most expensive thing about owning a hybrid is not the car itself. It is everything you were never told about how to drive it.